help people see and remove the obstacles that create suffering?
With great difficulty. First of all, we need to describe what an obstacle is. An obstacle is anything that causes contraction in you, any kind of belief system or understanding or ideology that creates contraction or resistance in you. That's an obstacle, because that obstacle is in the way of heart, the perception of love. Because any time we're contracted or in resistance, we cut ourselves off from the perception of love. And so, in removing the obstacles, first of all, we have to see them. And it's very difficult to see obstacles unless you're witnessing the mind. There is another way to do it, and that's to have other people tell you what they can see about you, which is a form of encounter. But if you're witnessing your own mind, if you have a silent witness that simply watches your own mind, without judgment, without movement, you start to see the obstacles that are in the way. And in seeing them, then you have the potential to remove them. If you can't see them, how can you remove them? And so witnessing the mind, or developing a silent witness that simply watches the mind, is one of the first things the seeker needs to do. The other way is encounter therapy, where other people show you what they can see in you. And if you're with a reasonably good teacher who's doing encounter therapy, that can be very effective. But the best way is to develop a silent witness that watches your mind from a non-judgmental place inside of yourself. And then when you see an obstacle, something that causes contraction or resistance in you, when the expectation on it's not met, you know that you've found probably a belief system that says that things should be different and how they are. Now, were any more questions? Yes.
How do you help people open their minds to perceive love?
By helping them remove the obstacles that are in the way of the perception of love, because love is always here. Every particle of the universe is made of it. If you're not perceiving it, it means that somewhere you're closed, or in a lot of places you're closed, because we perceive love in openness, wide openness, vulnerability. Your question?
How do you guide your students to find their true nature?
What I do is absolutely nothing really, but because awareness is aware of itself in me, there is a Buddha field, and the Buddha field does the work of expanding the mind and taking people into silence and stillness and love. The Buddha field does 99% of the work. The words are practically useless because you can find them in any library anywhere in the world. I'm absolutely pragmatic. I only teach what works in my own direct experience. I have no time at all for smells and bells, spiritual nonsense. Only what works. And what works is present moment awareness, developing present moment awareness to what is real, and everything's real except what you think, and openness. The practice of openness allows you to perceive love, but in the practice of openness you remove the obstacles that are in the way of the perception of love, which are the same obstacles that are in the way of enlightenment. And so, two main teachings, the teaching of meditation or being present to reality, and openness. And with openness comes the need for a silent witness that watches the mind so you can see what's going on, what obstacles are in the way of openness. Anything else?
Yes. How do you support someone who feels stuck or lost on the path?
I kick their backsides. I used to have this teacher called 𝐸𝐵, who was my main teacher in basically undoing myself. And when someone was stuck and they weren't moving, he would just say they haven't suffered enough yet to be motivated to do something about it. And to some degree, I agree with that. What motivates people for freedom usually is suffering. The recognition that life between birth and death is a lot of suffering. And then you get motivated to want to get free. And the seeker begins, the seeker of wisdom and truth. And for me, that meant doing, I think, 9 or 10 years of encounter therapy, and then finding a spiritual master and being in his mystery school for 7 years. And I loved it. Anything else?
How do you work with someone who's trapped in victim thinking?
Tell them to stop it. Point out the consequences of victim-orientated thinking and the consequences of not being a victim-orientated thinker, and let them make the decision as to which way they want to go. Because how we think really dictates how we live. It dictates our reality. And victim-orientated thinkers create misery for themselves. Full stop. Anything else?
How do you teach surrender, not just as an idea, but as a lived reality?
You can't really teach surrender because it's a non-doing. What you can teach is acceptance of life as it is and let go. And if acceptance of life as it is practiced for long enough and let go is practiced for long enough, the mind learns surrender. But it is only the practice of acceptance and let go that take you to that place. And so someone who is surrendered has practiced a great deal of acceptance and let go, otherwise they wouldn't be surrendered. This sort of person probably has what's called an equanimous mind, a mind that doesn't get rocked by this or that, doesn't get rocked by giving fire or receiving fire, a mind that stays stable.
My last question. How do you help people live with an open heart, even when it hurts?
The heart can't actually close. It's the mind that closes. The heart is always available if the mind is open. But when the mind closes, it cuts off the perception of heart. It cuts off the perception of love. And so it's the mind that has to be worked with, not the heart. The heart only has one quality, the same as love. It has one quality and one quality alone. It loves.